Oge akụkọ ụwa anyị na-ewetara gị si n'ọwara igwe okwu Okwute BTV ka o si wee labịara gị. Onye ọma na-ege ntị, ọ bụla ihe anyị na-eme na-amasị gị, anyị si gị tụsaa ya ka ọ rụsi ikwu ma rute ibe. Tupu anyị agaala iruola akụkọ ụwa anyị nwere tata, anyị chọrọ ime ka ị mata na ofu gọọmenti ka anyị nwere n'ala Biafra bụ Biafra Republic Government in Exile, bụ ụgbọ jeje ibulata USB bulata ya ụlọ. Mgbakpụ ketochi gị nso ka ntị ya ga-azụ ndị esimoru. Tupu anyị agala isi akụkọ ụwa anyị ji bịa n'ụbọchị tata, anyị ga-eme ka ịmata na obe okele ọrụ dịrị mụ na gị ịkwado ndị agha Biafra akpọrọ Biafra Liberation Army. Kwado ndị agha na ọha ga-alụ ọgụ wee nye anyị mmeri. Olu steeti administrator Chief Agonsi emeela ka ụmụ Olu steeti mara na obe okele ọrụ anyị ịkwado ndị agha Biafra akpọrọ Biafra Liberation Army. Ojikwa otu aka hụrụla agwa ụmụ Olu steeti na-agba ha mkpa ọ dị onye ọbụla egela ntị n'inye nwaanyị mkpụrụ mmiri ahụ akpọrọ Ngozi Orabaezela Kogheri. Onye ọbụla egekwala ntị n'inye ụlọ ekwu na ọ bụ naanị ofu gọọmenti ka e nwere n'ala Biafra bụ Biafra Republic Government in Exile, nke onye na-elekọta anya ugbu a bụ Maazị Ogechukwu nke ama dịka acting Prime Minister nke Biafra lanochi anya Maazị Simon Ekpa tupu mgbe Maazị Simon Ekpa njapụta were n'ụlọ ọchịchị ya. Acting Prime Minister nke Biafra Maazị Ogechukwu nkere la O George Shima amara dịka Minister of Trade and Industry agaala obodo Washington DC were gaa zutesia ndị isi okpokokpo enwuru na Washington DC na-agba ha maka ọdịmma na uru Biafra ga-abara ụwa. Tụaka Maazị Donald Trump bụ prezidenti nke Amerịka agbala ụwa niile mkpa ọ dị ịchọ nnwere onwe. Gee ntị ka na-enọ ihe o kwuru n'okwu ya.
The truth is plain to see. If you want freedom, take pride in your country. If you want democracy, hold on to your sovereignty. And if you want peace, love your nation. Wise leaders always put the good of their own people and their own country first. The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots. Fight, fight.
Ngwa tozie tiketi ala keno akụkọ iji bịa n'uju dịka ị ga-anụ n'ọnụ Maazị Nnamdi Kanu. Tọpe ntị gị ọfụma, were ntị gị mere oche. Ntị ọ dịkwa, anyị gaa n'iru.
You've been seen by many as waging a war against your country, Nigeria, by seeking a Biafran nation. What led to your decision?
First of all, Nigeria is not my country. I was born a Biafran. My birth certificate reads Biafra, and no one has ever changed that. The fact that I was at some point or the other in possession of a Nigerian passport does not actually confer upon me their citizenship. I saw the Nigerian passport as a mere travel document because my birth certificate issued at the time of my birth reads Biafra. Nobody of a sane mind will condone or accept what is happening in Nigeria. I believe that genuine attempts have been made in the past to try to remedy the wreck that Nigeria is today, but there was a palpable unwillingness on the part of the powers that be to do something about it. I detest suffering and pain. I hate to see people suffer. I hate to see people in pain. The only thing that propels me, the only thing that drives me towards this very agitation is not born out of hatred for anybody, but a desire to test freedom in our time. Nigeria was not constructed by a Yoruba man. If it were, I would have perhaps accepted. Nigeria was not created by a Fulani man. If that was the case, who knows, I may accept. Nigeria was not created by a Hausa man either. It wasn't created by a Nupe man. It wasn't created by a Gwari man, never created by a Jukun man. Nigeria was not created by an Ijo man, not created by an Ibibio man. Nigeria was created by a white man and named by a white woman. The name Nigeria means awful, bad, evil. It means nigger, which is a swear word, is a slur in America. If a white person calls a black person nigger, they might end up in jail. then why should I answer a name that is abhorrent before God and before man? Nobody came from all these ethnic groups. They never got together to say, as from today our name should be Nigeria. A white man determined it. I cannot go to England and say to English people, I want to rename Liverpool. I want to give it another name. I'm sure they'll think I'm mentally, unstable and put me in jail. Now, the problem is this. Why should Africans accept the name Nigeria? It doesn't mean anything in Yoruba language, doesn't mean anything in Hausa language, doesn't mean anything in Igbo language, but yet we are Africans. So I see it as a relic, or should I say a vestige of racism. I see Nigeria as an abomination, not just before God, but before man as well. Those with common sense, that is the reason why I like Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara changed the name from Upper Volta, that had no meaning, to Burkina Faso. Now, I wonder why educated, very savvy and enlightened Nigerians cannot see it. You have half of Yoruba land in Benin Republic. Some are in Togo. For over 20 years, I have been a very vocal advocate of a Yoruba nation that will also encompass the Yorubas in Benin Republic and those in Togo, because they are Yoruba people. Wouldn't that be very wonderful? Why should white people come from Europe and decide that some Yorubas should be Togolese, some should be from Benin Republic, and some should be from Nigeria? You're a Yoruba man. What do you have in common with a Kanuri man? Absolutely nothing. But I can tell you, you have something in common with a Yoruba man in Togo. You have something in common with a Yoruba man in Benin Republic. Why should you see a Kanuri man as your fellow citizen in Nigeria and not a Yoruba man who lives just a stone throw from Badagry? So these are the anomalies that Africans need to sit down to address. That is why we have arrested development. That is why nothing seems to be working. Because the convergence of these diverse value systems from the core Arewa North, from the West and from the East is making it impossible for Nigeria to function as a viable state. And that is a recognition that we must at this very point in time be able to address as educated people. Not that I hate Nigeria. I hate the name. I despise it with a passion. If you allow me, I wouldn't exist tomorrow morning. Anybody who answers or addresses him or herself as a Nigerian is a product of neocolonialism, not something that I am prepared to accept, because Nigeria never existed until Flora Shaw gave her that name, Nigeria. Before that, you had Oduduwa, before that, you had Biafra, before that, you had Colonial Bruno Empire, and all these wonderful and weird civilizations. Now, a white man cannot come from Europe and then create an identity for me. Only God in heaven can do that. And I can give an identity to my dog. The only thing you can name are your children and your pets. They are not our fathers. They are Caucasians. We are Black Africans. They have no right being in Africa and giving us names. And that I will never ever accept.
Military and security experts have said it is impossible for any country to fight 2 civil wars without monumental repercussions. Have you considered this, and what lessons did you learn from the last Nigerian Civil War?
The lessons that I will learn from the last war, if I can begin by addressing your last question, is that we should not have given up. Even though we were overawed as a result of a global conspiracy of unprecedented proportions. Biafra-Nigeria war was the Third World War, because in that war, if you leave Nigeria and Biafra alone, Biafra would defeat Nigeria anytime, any day. Pound for pound, Biafra would defeat Nigeria anytime, any day, and I make bold to say this. But Britain got involved. They imposed a no-fly zone over Biafra land. They imposed air, land, and sea blockade to stop us from getting food and arms. But they went behind the back of the world to negotiate with Russia to supply arms to God. They even brought in Egyptian pilots to fly their planes for them. Nigeria has never won any war in its history. Ordinary Boko Haram, they are begging Niger, they are begging Chad, they are begging Cameroon to help them. They have never won any war. The only thing they specialize in doing is killing civilians, as they did at Lekki Tollgate. That's what they can do. Nigeria has never fought any war. An army is meant to go out to win territories for the country that it claims is coming from. The same way that Lugard led an expeditionary force to come to create Nigeria for the crown in Britain. Nigerian soldiers have not done that before. Anywhere they go, they're humiliated and they come back. So I wouldn't actually see, I wouldn't describe what transpired between 67 to 70 as a Biafra-Nigeria war. Is Biafra versus the whole world. The United States was ambivalent. They never actually, should I say, participated as they should. Britain was there running the whole show. They destroyed Aburi Accord, destroyed the agreement reached between Ojukwu and Gowon. They came back and they instigated a war. That was all they did. There was not, I wouldn't see it as a war. And I want to let Nigeria understand this. There is that tendency, that what I call the Fulani Janjaweedism, there is that tendency to intimidate, that tendency to terrorize, that tendency to subdue, overraw, and then conquer people. It is not going to happen in our time. They will try, but they will fail. The more they focus their attention in the East, the more the terrorists that they themselves spread in the North will overrun them there. So I am not in any way, shape, or form either phased or overawed. They will come again because it's in their nature, and this time around they'll be roundly defeated.
Well, I think with due respect to our men and women of armed forces, I believe they are well rated. I visited them in Liberia, I visited them in Sierra Leone. In Liberia, we were controlling 10 out of 15 counties. In Sierra Leone, in fact, we actually lost one of our brigadiers, and the Sierra Leoneans are eternally grateful to us, because but for the support from Nigeria, both countries, I don't know what would have happened to them. In fact, at the time, Professor Adeniji was the head of UNANSI in